Hello everyone, my name is Kelly Tavares, tour guide here in my agency, Rio Encantos Experiences, working with different partners from all over the world and from Brazil. I'm here today to talk about responsible tourism with you. I lead tours here in Rio de Janeiro, in the historic center, different experiences and historic walking tours as well. But I also lead hikes in the forest, in the Tijuca National Park, every day. Basically, people just come to me and can make a reservation for the following day, and for the most part, I will be able to offer that. So I'd like to share responsible tourism while leading hikes in the forest. A few things are important to take into consideration. And I would love to share, for example, yesterday's hike to the Souls Waterfall. So we are very excited. I was very excited to present a lot of the background I have from my ancestry, from my traditions, indigenous and Afro traditions, sharing knowledge about the fauna, the flora, our creeds, our beliefs. And okay, we started. At the beginning of the hike, we found together a Brazilian skunk called the gamba. So that was, there's natural selection involved, but we never know what could have happened with the baby. And it was on the hike, on the trail, in the middle of the trail, at the beginning of our walk, and it was almost dying. So it was very shocking and impressive for us. I've never bumped into a situation where I had to rescue a wild animal, but I was, how can I say, maybe it was lucky enough to meet us there because it was a Monday morning and there wasn't anybody else hiking on that moment. I noticed it was birthing and it was really needing that protection, so I immediately got a brown paper bag that I had, bringing the snacks to the group, and one leaf that was there, and I rescued it, wrapped it up on that paper bag, and I took it back to the entrance of the park. And fortunately, the car of the team, of the staff of the park, they were arriving at that moment to take that gamba to the rescue and protection center. So now I wonder how is it going, but the adventure was just starting, and the girls, before starting the hike, they really emphasized how they would love to see the fauna. And I explained them that we can see the fauna, which is vast, in different situations, and sometimes it takes days to see the different ones and the different hikes we make. But they were actually very lucky yesterday. There were many birds, and the monkeys didn't show up. We just could hear them, and other birds that I can identify. So I was calling to their attention some of the birds that they could be of their knowledge. So from the sound, I would say, oh, this is a toucan, this is a parrot, maracanã, and so on. So it's really a sensorial experience, like smelling different fruits that we find on our way, and we are lucky to see some of the flowers which were blossoming, and some of them which I've never seen in the forest. So I'd love to share this experience because it's about rediscovering. Sometimes you say, oh, I've done this hike, I've done this trail before, but the forest is a living being on itself, and a lively, dynamic experience. And in different seasons of the year, you see different trees blossoming, different flowers blooming, and then different animals. For example, the gamba, which I saw, is because this is the moment of the year where the how do you say that, the baby animals, they are leaving their nests and starting to seek for an independent life, and that's why we might find them struggling on this wilderness, learning how to survive, plus the difficulties of being exposed to an urban forest, which is close to the roads and which is close to dogs of different communities who live their dogs free. So the dogs end up creating some harm to the fauna. So they go through different dangers and challenges to survive. So if we can be there for them to protect the fauna and the flora, that's what I'm making this call for. If you're a tour guide or even if you're visiting the forests, I make this climb. It's like, do not feed the animals, do not leave rubbish or garbage on the trails. Avoid even leaving the organic leftovers of a banana peel or of a fruit, because they can be different species. They might have seeds that are not compatible with the flora there. And another thing that happened that I really want to emphasize is that on our way back, we found what could be a cuica. They have night habits. And this because on our way back, after we went to the Waterfall of Souls, I stopped to call their attention to the girls to a very beautiful tree filled with different branches falling from it. And then I said, look at that beautiful tree. And suddenly the girl with me, one of the visitors, she said, oh, wow, can you look there? It looks like a face. I can see two eyes, look like a monkey, but it's not really. What is that? So we were wondering what the animal was, because it was about like 100 meters distant from us. And then she said, can we get closer? And that's a question, and it's again, when I make a climb and my behavior was, no. Look at his eyes. So he's looking at us, he's staring at us because he noticed that we already found it. It was very disguised there in between the branches. And so he is tense, and I could feel it, that it was already anxious of any possibility of us trying to get closer. So I know it's very temptive. We say, oh, that's how, you see, that's an opportunity. It's so cute, and how is that? I would like to see from a closer distance, and I need to ask you not to do it. So guides, please do not attempt to do that, to get closer to the animals in order to, let's say, give a response to your own curiosity or to offer what would be the best experience for your visitors. Think that the best experience is the one that will protect and educate visitors to protect the environment. So for you who wants to come and bring your binoculars to do hikes with me, it's very recommended that you do that, because there are birds, for example, with their collars that you can't really see them because they will be from a very distance, and then from a distance against the light and the trees, they all look brown or gray, but with the binoculars they really present all of their colors. Here we work with our partner from Pica-Pau Tours, Ricardo, who promotes the bird watching experiences, and he brings the binoculars himself, promoting this experience. So if you are interested in bird watching, just let me know, and we arrange that for you as well. It's lovely, and I also love to participate every time we put up a group, for that matter. So please do not get closer to the animals. They can get aggressive, like the monkeys. They will get very close to you to ask for food, and if you don't give, they kind of it's funny, but they stalk you. They go after you throughout the trail because they're expecting to get the banana you have in your bag. But hold yourself to the temptation. Don't feed the animals. And there are many reasons for that. It's not an empty reason, and I can explain why. if you feed them, they lose a little bit of developing the ability of hunting for food. And in a moment when the tourists and the visitors, they are not in the city, they will be in a vulnerable condition because there will be less tourists visiting and less people feeding them. But if they keep up the ability of hunting, then any time of the year they will be able to find the native leaves and fruits that they can, or other animals that they can feed themselves with. One thing that it's interesting to know is like the animals in the forest, sometimes and many times, you want to really be seeing them, but be aware that they're really aware that you were around. So they will have their eyes on you, and some of them will want to approach. Like the coatis, for example, they're used to people also feeding them in the parks, and they are very friendly. They get closer to you, very, very close, so you can get close ups with the camera because they come to your camera, you know. But don't feed them. You can take your picture and make your video. They will get closer to you. Don't touch, don't feed. You can have a conversation. I usually talk with the animals, and sometimes they get very close. Not only the coatis, but the birds as well. Many times doing hikes, there were situations when the birds, they came to me, and talking and communicating with them, they came very close, and they were there, just talking to me, staring at me. So I didn't need to feed them. I just had a conversation in a very respectful way. And one of the things that I bring up is like understand the soul of the animals. When we talk about nature, and we are nature and part of nature ourselves, we talk about soulful experiences. All the native people in the world and ancient people, our ancestors, they saw nature as soulful elements. And this is the reason why a lot of the representations related to the waters, to the sea, to the thunder, to the air, to the rocks, to fire, and the elements, they will have a personified character that resemble a human character. And so it's like when you think about Jesus and God as our own image resemblance, and that's on the Bible, it's because it's human being trying to create an imagery that is understandable and that's why it speaks the same language and looks like yourself. So when we are with nature, understanding the spiritual nature of the elements, our relation with animals, with the waters, with the free and clean air that we'll be breathing there, it will have much more meaning because we will feel connected, attached, we will feel that we are on our grounds and being part of that. We feel as we are supposed to feel. We feel nature, our nature, and being nature ourselves. So my invite for you is come, or wherever you are, seek experiences and dive yourself, merge yourself with natural landscapes. Create those opportunities in a balance. Communicate with the soul of the trees, of the animals, of the fauna and flora, because also our ancient people, our native people, they see soul and spiritual beings in the trees, in the plants. For example, the peregrine, which I have here in my place,